Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Educated Collins Snap channel. How you doing? So we've got some exciting news to talk about today. They have announced the series drops for this month, right? So series drops, they take cards from a higher series, so series 5, series 4, and they drop them down to a lower, more accessible series pool. So we do have the cards announced for Series 3 down to Series 4. We've got 3 cards: Hellcarrier, Agent Coulson, and Maria Hill. And then for Series 5 down to Series 4, we've got 4 cards: Silver Surfer, Darkhawk, Null, and Sentry. So these are the cards being announced. I want to talk about all of them, and I also want to talk about some other things, metagame discussions, that kind of thing. So, uh, you guys are always asking me, "Oh, should I buy Darkhawk? Should I buy Null? Should I buy?" No one's asking me if they should buy Sentry, but Darkhawk, Null. Those are like the 2 common asks from Series 5, and I pretty much always say no. I will say if you already have completed Series 3, then the there is more of an argument. But for those cards in particular, I always say just wait because they're going to drop down, right? They're going to get cheaper. So if you buy them early and then they drop down, you're essentially wasting the difference. So that's something you want to think about going forward. If you aren't thinking about that already, you have to be super careful with these purchases, especially cards that have been in a series for a while. There is track record to assume that they're going to be dropped down soon or quickly. So definitely want to just say that out now. Just a reminder, always be aware of the cards that you're purchasing because there's a good chance they could drop down very soon. All right, so let's talk about these in particular. Let's start from the Series 4 to Series 3 cards. Right, so Hell Carrier is not really a popular card. There is a discard meta kind of forming due to Modork, but I don't think it's you need Hellcarrier or Helicarrier, but I do think it has a place in that deck list. So I actually think this is probably going to be the most used. Well, maybe not most used, but going to be used. I actually think Agent Coulson is probably going to be the most used because this one fits really well in Dino decks. And if you have Quinjet, like this becomes pretty playable, the cards that you're getting. So I actually think Agent Coldstream is actually just a good card that can fit in decks. So I actually think this is probably the best of the 3 that's going to be dropping down. I have it already in my deck, in my collection, and I've used it a couple of times and it hasn't felt too bad. Maria Hill's okay. Not like super core or super necessary. Sometimes the 1 drops do fit your curve, and it probably has a place, especially if it is a Series 3 card. I do think more people will be able to run it just casually. It can also fit in Dino decks, and with Quinjet, the card you get is free, so there is some power to that. So I do think it will be used. But it isn't like game breaking. You're not gonna win a game because you played Maria Hill most of the time. So not core, but definitely has its use cases. So those are the 3. They're not going to be game breaker or meta breaking, but they are cards that exist. All right, let's talk about the Series 5 to Series 4 drop downs. Right, these ones are a little bit more interesting in my opinion. We have Silver Surfer. So it did get nerfed last, or at least the beginning of this month. But I actually still think this card is playable. This card is strong. If you go Brute Silver Surfer, you're really only losing 1 point of power in that lane. And I definitely think this card is maybe being disrespected. Maybe just being nerfed in itself is more of a sign that people don't want to play it. But I still think this card is strong. This card is powerful. It dominated the meta last season. Same thing with Darkhawk. This card didn't get nerfed at all. It just one of its key engines did get nerfed, and that kind of put it in the back foot. I still think this card is playable. It's just not oppressive as it used to be, right? Being able to play like 4 copies of it, basically with Moon Girl, double Darkhawk, double Mystique, right? Like that was definitely too much. I think now it's a little bit more fairer. It's a little bit more balanced. So I still think you can play both of these cards. It's just kind of interesting that um, they're not in the forefront anymore. People are onto bigger and better things, different meta games and whatnot. Null is just still good. It's just doesn't have too much easy synergy. Most likely Galactus players abuse Null, but other than that, Destroy decks can try, but it's not as free or easily executed as with Galactus. So definitely think some people who have Galactus are going to be happy to see Null drop down. It's going to be a lot easier to buy and commit to, so that's going to be good for them. And then Sentry, I recently made a Series 4, Series 5 tier list, and I had Sentry near the bottom. I just think it's hard to make this card work without it feeling awkward. A lot of compositions you could run Sentry, and you don't really actually need the Sentry. It's more of like an extra bonus, and a lot of the time you're just like hoping that you get the right scenario that you can really pop off with the Sentry, but the order is awkward and the curve is a little bit awkward, especially with the Zabu nerf. So definitely not in love with this card right now. If it does eventually drop down to Series 3, maybe you could find more easy use cases, but currently it's a little bit awkward and I don't really like these cards or that card at the moment. So I do think the series drop downs are interesting. I do think they could be effective. But yeah, these are the cards being touched. Now I do have some more to discuss past this announcement. I kind of wanted to talk about what I thought would be dropped down, right? So basically, when you look through this list, there are a couple cards. These are the pool 4 cards. There are a couple cards I thought would be dropped down. Right, Agent Colstein, the three Hellcarrier and Maria Hell were cards I did think were going to be dropped down, but I actually also thought that Atuma might get dropped down. That's what I was thinking. M'Baku might get dropped down, and maybe even Orca. I thought they also could get dropped down. So the ones that got dropped down last month are almost guaranteed not to be dropped down, right? So Bast, Black Panther, Shuri, Valkyrie, right? Those ones, Super Skrull, those ones had no signs of being dropped down, but the other ones I really thought had a good chance. So it's kind of interesting that it means that next month, right? It's very likely Atuma, M'Baku, and Orca gets dropped down. So it's gonna take a while for the others, right? Black Panther, Basque, Super Skrull, Valkyrie to get dropped down. It's gonna take maybe 2 more months before you see them move down to Pool 3. And then same thing with Pool 5. Actually, for Pool 5, the exact cards I thought would get dropped down did get dropped down, right? So that would be Darkhawk, Sentry, Null, and Silver Surfer. Those are the exact cards I thought would be dropped down because they were the ones that were in Pool 5 the longest. So those ones make sense. Next season, right, you're going to see maybe Zabu being touched, Soren, right? The ones that got revealed 2 months back. So I'm pretty happy with the Pool 5 targets. Those are the exact ones I would have guessed. The ones that scare me is the Pool 4 to Pool 3 ones. I actually thought more would go down. And I have another kind of example for that. So we do have a creator, Azrey TV. They kind of had a Excel sheet kind of predicting what would be dropped down from month to month. So this is actually pretty cool what they were thinking, and it actually kind of aligns with what I was thinking too. So I kind of looked for it, try to find it here, and it kind of shows what I thought the process would be, where they have the December, and then for February, right, these are the ones that got dropped down. So we have that, and then for March, right, this is the current drop down from March, right. I was thinking that, okay, Darkhawk, Null, Sentry, Silver Surfer, that's the same here, but he also has all of the previous Series 4 cards from December dropping down, and that's what I thought too, but they actually split in half. So that probably means is that 3 will be here, and then 3 will be next month. So all of these here, you're probably gonna have to move back a month, which is gonna take significant. It's gonna feel significantly longer. It means that each drop down, from introduction to a series drop down, is roughly 3 months, and it's gonna take 6 months from a card to go from Series 5 to Series 3. Based on this announcement and like me doing the calculations, it's probably going to take 6 months from a revealed Series 5 to down to Series 3. And that's quite a long time. And I really hope Second Dinner does something about that, because that's definitely going to lose a lot of the excitement for a lot of the player base, especially if they haven't completed Series 3, to see a card be revealed and then think to themselves, okay, it's going to take half a year before I probably have a good chance of playing the card. That's not a great feeling. So definitely hope they look into this and see if this is like good play experience for the player base, because ultimately that's what matters. So definitely an interesting look at things and how long things are going to take to drop down. This 6 month period, 3 months one drop down, 3 months another drop down, is definitely quite a long time to be waiting for a car that you're excited about, right? You're going to lose all the excitement. But all in all, this was a quick video, but not really. Just kind of talking about the drop down. There are some interesting ones. I think Null and Darkhawk and Silver Surfer, if you didn't pick it up, are going to be kind of interesting. But definitely, what's your thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on the discussion of how long it takes for cards to drop down and just like the metagame of that? But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you in the next one.